I handled one objection and now I close 4-figure deals with little effort. So I've closed anywhere from $2,000, $4,000, $6,000, $8,000 deals after I learned this one thing. And in today's video, I'm going to be explaining to you guys how exactly you can do this on your own. And it typically lies in a few different puzzle pieces. I'm going to be explaining puzzle pieces from 1, 2, 3, and 3 is probably really the most important, but you have to hear 1, 2 to actually get to 3 and understand 3 at its fullest. So you probably feel like your prospect is not liking you. You probably feel like because you're not closing any of these deals, you're a bad coach, you're a bad consultant, probably hop on these, 30-minute sales calls all the time. You probably maybe not book out your calendar, but you have sales calls. You can't close them. You feel bad about it. And it's a revolving cycle of you're booking in a shallow amount of appointments. It's shaky. It's never consistent. You feel like there's a lot of pressure because you have to close the deals and utilize the small amount of appointments that you have. You probably feel good on the sales calls. You probably feel buddy-buddy with the sales calls. First puzzle piece that we have is you feel like you're their best buddy. Now, I had a 9-figure entrepreneur tell me, he was reviewing some of my sales calls. He said, "Look, Patrick, how good do you feel in these sales calls on a scale of 1 to 10? I said, "Oh, I feel great." "Okay, cool. On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel?" And I said, like 8, 9. And he said, "Yeah, that's why you can't close for shit, because you're buddy-buddy with the prospect." You become buddy-buddy with the prospect after they're in the program, after they're in the agency, after they're in the retainer, after you're actually starting to serve them. That's when you get to know them even more at a deeper level. The sales call is not a therapy call. I tell my clients this all the time. The sales call is not a call for you to be their mom or be their dad, be their sister, be their brother, be their buddy-buddy from high school or fucking college. It's not for that. You are the authority figure. You are the person who has to show them the way. At the end of the day, you're the one with the product or service that needs to be sold. You're the one at the end of the day that has the conviction that this product actually works and I want this guy to get the results. So you should feel convicted in of yourself to have that so you can get them from point A to point B. So with that being said, this leads me into my second point, setting the frame. A lot of you guys are weak, very, very, very weak at this point. They hop on the sales call, their camera is probably off on Zoom or on Google Meet or whatever, and you don't even say anything. I was reviewing one of my client sales calls a few weeks ago, and he logged on the call, and the Zoom call was absolutely dead. Screen was black. Prospect's camera was off. And so he didn't say anything. He said absolutely nothing. And so the prospect wants to hide. If the prospect's camera is off, first off and foremost, before you even get into anything else, if the prospect's camera is off, say, "Hey, do you have a working camera that you can possibly use?" "Oh, yeah, I got you. 95% of the time it's that. I've only had a few times where guys have been like super shaky connection. And if they turn on the video, the Zoom call would absolutely crash. And that's when I say, don't worry about it. Let's reschedule a call. Because in all honesty, they're not even going to buy a 4-figure package if they're on a train in freaking India or like in a third world country or something. Like you shouldn't even be on a sales call with those guys. Pause. You should be on a sales call with those guys. Not to discriminate, but if they're qualified is what I mean. If they're qualified. Okay. So this goes into my second point, setting the frame. A lot of you guys are weak on the frame. You're supposed to set the frame in a way to where you are the authority figure. You don't rub into enough pain. And you essentially just let them guide the flow of the conversation. Now, I was reviewing one of my sales calls, or one of my client sales calls yesterday, and he let the prospect set the frame. The prospect was like, "Dude, I have 30 minutes. I got to go in 30 minutes. And he was like, "Oh, okay, cool. And what do you know? Lo and behold, that sales call lasted 15 minutes. 3 minutes into the conversation, the prospect asked for the price, and one of my clients gave it to him. Mistake number 1. Setting the frame is very, 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 very simple. After you build, obviously, a little bit of like rapport or whatever, you cut straight into it. You say, "Look, dude, I got 30 minutes on my next call. You mind if we hop into it really, really, really quickly here?" "Yeah, sure. Let's go ahead. Let's do it." "Okay, cool. Yeah, this call probably lasts like 30, 45 minutes, like what I said. I'm going to just plan out a solid strategy with you, see if there's a plan for us to even work together. I'll make you an offer at the very end of the call. If there is a possible way for us to work together, if not, I'll point you in the right direction nonetheless." Very simple. Very, very concise, very, very clear. You have 30 minutes. You're the authority figure. You're planning out a solid strategy with them. You're making them an offer at the end of the call. They're much aware of that. Let's get into it. So that was easy. And a lot of you guys avoid the frame because of its uncomfortableness. I understand that setting the frame is kind of awkward. It's kind of awkward to tell somebody that you're going to make them an offer because you don't want to sound salesy. You know what does sound salesy? When you don't know what you're talking about and you don't set the frame. And then at the very end, you make them an offer because you didn't set the frame before, showing them or telling them that you were going to make an offer in the future. And you just blindsided them because you didn't set the frame. That's more awkward. So set the frame at the very beginning of your sales calls because I promise you that is going to move the needle. And that is a part of the one objection or pre-objections that you actually handle on the sales call. Second one, or third one, I don't even know which one we're at, is not enough pain in discovery. So I see a lot of you guys in the discovery phase of the sales call, you are asking why questions. You are asking, how many clients are you working with? Where are you at with this in your business? Where are you at right now currently? What are you currently using? What systems are you currently implementing? You're asking them these why questions. You're seeing where they're at. You're discovering as to why they're even on the call with you. And that's why as soon as you set the frame, it's very important to be like, yeah, dude, what's got you on the call today? Just ask them straight up. And so when you ask them straight up, it cuts the elephant out of the room. And now they can address the problem that they've been facing for a while. You rub into pain, and then you get to the ascension phase of things. So when you really rub into the pain, I see a lot of guys not rub into enough pain or rub into way too much pain. I was reviewing one of my client sales calls 2 days ago or a day ago, and the prospect was talking about like deeply rooted family trauma. And I was like, bro, that's way too much pain, man. Like you're literally a licensed therapist at this point. If you're talking about like generational trauma with your prospects, dude, pack it up, bro. like what? So I was telling him, I was like, dude, you rub into way too much pain. I love what you're doing, but you got to cut it off at some point. You want to rub into the pain of the business aspect of things, where they're at in their journey, and then that's when you get to selling with cost of inaction, which we'll get to really quickly here. But essentially, you want to rub into enough pain by asking why questions. Think of it as the first question you ask is the tip of the iceberg, right? And the more why questions you ask, why is it this way? What have you currently been doing? Why? Tell me more about that. You're going further and further down the iceberg, and the problems get larger, the problems get bigger, and the problems weigh more, and the problems are not as easily opened up as if you were just asking that one question here at the tip of the iceberg. Obviously, it's a lot more detrimental down here, and the problems are a lot bigger because you asked at a deeper level. So asking the right why questions, asking obviously, consequence questions, what will happen in your business if you continuously book 3 appointments every single month? Will you stay afloat? Will you have to go back to your 9 to 5? What does that kind of look like for you and your family? So that's probably about as deep as you want to get. Pause. And that's about as far as you really want to go. Next thing is really like the ascension phase of things. After you ascend them, and you talk about where they want to be, point B or whatever. That's all cool. The main thing is setting the frame. You simply are not setting the frame, right? You simply are letting the prospect guide the conversation. And then after an hour and a half, when you just pitched, you're wondering why they didn't buy, wondering why they simply don't want your product or service because there wasn't any desire built around it. They don't see you as an authority figure. Your model or mechanism is probably good. You just didn't showcase it in the best way. And the sales call was rushed. All the process was rushed. Frame was rushed. Discovery was rushed. And it turned out to be more of a buddy-buddy therapy call than it was an actual sales call. Look, to put you in the right frame of mind, you are the business owner. It is your sole responsibility to feel convicted that your product or service will deliver the desired result to the prospect in X amount of time. Therefore, with full conviction that you can get your prospect or your client from point A to point B, it is your job to show them that and showcase it in the best possible way on the sales call. And if you cannot showcase it on the sales call, if you cannot show them that your product, your service, your model is the best possible mechanism for them, you will never close any deals. You will have objection after objection after objection, and you will be handling them until the cows come home. So set the frame, get into proper discovery, show them that you are the authority figure by not telling them I'm the authority figure here, but by showing them, look, I've done XYZ. I have XYZ for you. Let me get to know your situation a little bit more. Discover, handle those 3 objections because there shouldn't be any objections at the end of the call. When you handle those objections, you will close more 4 or 5 figure deals. It doesn't matter. You simply have those principles. Hope this video helped. I'll catch you guys in the next one.